From the moment you fire up Death's Door, it's being totally upfront with you about the game that you're about to play. The somber piano, the bleak office setting, the crows typing away on the typewriters. This game's main strength is in its presentation, and you can see that from the title screen onward. Its art style, its animation, its charm, its humor, and its soundtrack are all stellar. These are the things that draw you into this wonderful world that the two gentlemen at Acid Nerve, the developers behind Death's Door, created for us to enjoy. It's not a journey that takes place on a perfectly paved road, and it's not without its faults, but it's certainly a journey worth taking. Before we get further into this review, I'd like to let you know you can now find me streaming on YouTube every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And now that my life has settled down a bit, expect more consistent content on the channel. I recently moved on top of having an already stupid busy summer, so up until the past few days, I haven't even really had that much time to think about YouTube. That all changes starting with this review. Let's talk about Acid Nerve's Death's Door. In Death's Door, you are a Grim Reaper Crow that's in charge of collecting souls in a world that needs souls collected, but where souls haven't been getting collected. Something is amiss, and it's your job to, well, actually do your job and get some damn souls. The story is a linear one, with some ways you can deviate and explore a bit, but still a linear one. The story was one of my favorite parts of this game. It has so much charm and wit, and it was really just a pleasure to experience. I'm going to keep the video free of some of the bosses in the game and some of my favorite story bits just because there's something that you need to experience on your own, not in my YouTube video. I was genuinely surprised by the amount of charm that the story had. I'm honestly not sure what I expected going in, but it wasn't a game that didn't take itself super duper seriously. This isn't some meme romp, because believe me, the story has its emotional points, but it knows what it's trying to do, and it does it incredibly well. It took me about 10 hours to complete the story, and you might be able to get through it a little more quickly than I did because the last few bosses absolutely ran train on me. That's a nice segue to gameplay, isn't it? If I had to give the gameplay of Death's Door an overarching statement, it would be challenging at times, but not unforgiving. For the most part, this game is very forgiving. The combat works like this. You have a melee weapon in your sword, and even though you can pick up other weapons throughout the story, that was what I used most of the time. You also get a ranged weapon, which could be a bow or even a spell you can use at range. Depending on the power of the ranged weapon, it will consume your magic when you use it, which can only be refilled by successful melee attacks. In concept, I like this system. It's kind of self-policing because you can't just sit in the back forever planking away at enemies with ranged attacks. And when it works, there's this nice balance of ranged and melee attacks in combat. When it doesn't work is in the later stages of the game, where a lot of the bosses are melee based, and I don't think that the game really does a good job of preparing you for this type of combat. Sure, there are melee enemies throughout the story, but the arenas you fight in during the first 60% of the game have a lot of elbow room. My biggest gripe is that 2 of the last 3 bosses kind of felt like bullshit compared to the other ones in the game. I don't really think that the melee enemies are this game's strong suit, and I don't think that the melee combat is either. The hit detection for you and your enemies can be kind of wonky at times, and when the damage windows get smaller in the endgame bosses, it doesn't feel like the game does you any favors. One thing I found myself wishing for in the later stages of the game was something similar to Kratos' Blades of Chaos from God of War, something that gave you just a little more distance when you are engaged in combat. I don't think that you need that much more range, just a little bit would make a huge difference. Aside from those complaints, the combat is very serviceable and it doesn't ruin the experience. It's just part of the game that's there instead of a part that stands out. In addition to the combat, the upgrade system is fairly simple too. You hit stuff and kill enemies, and that gives you materials that you can go back to the hub world with and upgrade your speed, your dexterity, your melee attack damage, your ranged weapons, etc. I wasn't fully upgraded by the time that I finished the main story, but I also really wasn't going out of my way to try to upgrade everything either. That's all I really have to say for the combat. It's fine. Let's talk about that sound design and the soundtrack that I was gushing about earlier. Aside from the story, which is great, the strength in this game is in the sound design and the score. This game is incredibly polished, and it's obvious in the game's aesthetic and animation, but it really stands out in the minor details. I just love the little clanging noises as the crow climbed a ladder, and things like the crow losing some feathers every time he did a barrel roll.
Do a barrel roll!
Were awesome to me. The hits and strikes when you're in combat all sound great, and the score is just... it's something else, man. Like I said in the introduction, this game's score kicks you right in the ass in the opening menu. Death's Door also does that thing that Marty O'Donnell was known for with Halo, where the further you progress in an area, the music builds and builds into a crescendo. Not only does this make you feel like you're leading the charge in some parts of the game, but it also does this unique thing of pushing the player in a game that's otherwise pretty relaxed. There's no sense in padding this out longer than it needs to be. The music and the story made this game for me. I feel like that's worth the experience alone. Sure, I've got some minor grievances with the combat, but that's not a good enough reason to miss this game. If you've got 8 to 10 hours of free time on a Saturday because you fried your GPU playing New World, I would give this a shot. And damn dude, it was nice to get to experience something new again. Thank you Acid Nerve and Devolver Digital for giving us Death's Door. I can't wait to see what you bring us next. Thank you all for watching. Death's Door was a fun game to experience, and it's the first of a handful of indie games I'll be reviewing in the coming weeks. If you like this video, a positive rating would be very much appreciated, and if you want to see live content like this...
Dude, someone turn off the fucking barbecue machine.
Tater, was that your grenade?
Yeah. You were getting lit up in there.
So you smoked me out of my little outhouse I've got here?
Guys, right below you in the stairs.
It's fine. It's fine. It's not fine. You can find me streaming on YouTube every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Much love, everyone, and stay safe out there. Peace out, everybody. No! Did I get 2 in a row? Come on, get him. Come on. Oh my god. What is that?